Hi everyone, the Mature Simmer. So I'm back here later in the day. I've gone ahead and gotten all the oats work done. I'm gonna take a look here. What I have to do. 7,000. Alright, we're at 47. It's just gonna be a test. Alright, so it does take it up, probably about what I repaired it as. So I am, at this point, going to do some things for the grass. So I have spent a lot of time and a lot of calculation to get to where I'm at, and I'll try to explain as quickly as I can what I'm thinking. So what I've determined, because obviously I also have to learn FS22 things and what's different. So hay can't be created by drying. It has to be created in FS22 by tedding. So if I was to buy this dedicated mower, which is what I would look at, I get the benefit when I just need grass of creating a swath without having to do any windrowing or anything like that. However, if I want to create hay, I'm still going to have to ted the grass, which is going to spread the swath out, which then requires me to windrow anyway, and then pick it up. So the only savings I have is on grass in that I don't have to windrow it before I pick it up. Now for my mower options, these are my biggest mowers, and they're a good amount larger. I don't know, they're certainly not double the width, but given what we've got, and we've got a little bit of extra money, because at this point, again, my focus is on dairy. Like, I'm going to be mowing a lot, so I want to do everything I can to make it as easy as possible. So the speed's the same. Yes, I'm going to be paying a bit of a premium, but I'm basically going to get 12.3 meters in mowing, and this goes a little slower than the regular mower, meaning this one. It's 13 miles an hour versus 15, but because of the increase in working width on the work time calculator, it's actually faster to use the other mower. So that's another positive for it. So if I fertilize the grass right now, I do it at 33 meters at 7 miles an hour. What I've learned is with a grass roller, it does the same thing to grass as if you fertilized, but basically I don't have to fertilize, and so I'm still going at 7, but I've got a smaller working width. So obviously it's going to take me a little bit longer, but it's literally like 0.79 hours versus I think like 0.5 something. So it's like a quarter of an hour, if even. So an extra 15 minutes or so to use the roller, but then I'm saving the about $8,000 in fertilizer that I'm spending to fertilize that field. So it's going to take a long time, probably what it would be, because I think this is about 5. So just to do round numbers, 20 harvests before I'd basically break even on it. But if I'm continuing to do things for a while, I have that option. And in the interim, I could just spray. It's not that I have to get a roller, but that's something that I've been considering as well. So that leads us to then another decision, because to use this roller's not too bad, but to use this roller, I need 350 horse. So the question is, well, does that make sense? But then the challenge I have here too is I need 250 horse plus 95, so I also need basically 350 horse to mow. And while I have a tractor that is very powerful, this tractor can't attach the mower to the front, so I can't use this. So that led me to where I'm at as well, which is if I trade in this tractor and then buy a larger tractor to replace it. I need something with thin tires so that I can still spray my crop at a minimum. Grass I could do with anything, but then I need the horsepower. So that's what I've decided to do, because a dedicated mower is just that. It's a dedicated mower. If I've got a tractor, I've got all kinds of things I can do with that tractor. So I am going to get rid of the Massey, and I am going to replace it with a large tractor with thin tires, which I have been able to find. Over here at the end, we have got these Agco Vario 1000 US Series mods that, as you can see, go from 396 to 517. So the small configuration covers us just fine. So if I go with 396, put GPS on it, put the narrow tires on it, narrow tires go for 1600, that gets me what I need. Now again, I do not have a front loader, so I am losing that at this point. But the only need I have for any kind of front loader would be handled basically by the forklift if I needed it, but it really is just the mineral feed, and I should be able to use that in a trailer. I'm going to have to test that out to make sure that I can load things in a trailer and then dump it, and that I don't actually have to bring it on pallets. I'm hoping that's the case, because that will be very tedious if I need to do that, because there's not really an easy way to do that. But let me sell the Massey. So yeah, it's a little bittersweet, because obviously this tractor has helped us do quite a few things on the farm. But, you know, we're at that point now, making these decisions to go with robotic feeders and all kinds of crazy stuff that we've got money for here. It just isn't going to work, and it doesn't make sense to keep this tractor as well, because it's not as if the other one can't do the same thing. And then some, because obviously the horsepower on this is much less. Getting a little bit of lag here, so I want to be careful, because he's got crop out here. Oh boy. Just a very nerve-wracking little run here. There we go. Now we're out of the field. So while we're heading there, so I did plant oats on the southern field, and I did go ahead and spray herbicide. So it is treated for weeds, so we should get the maximum yield. So basically our clock is ticking. The oats are determining when we can really get the cows. So the other challenge I've got, but I should be okay, I think, is that, you know, grass is still a harvested item. We'll see, I guess, because it does warn us if it starts raining. We'll see if then I have a problem with that. But what I'd like to do, if I can get the grass cut and picked up and at least get some in the fermentation silo, I can start making silage, and I can also start to understand just the volume of grass I'm going to get off that field. So what I'll probably do is I will go ahead while I'm here, and I'm going to get all the equipment lined up that I'm going to need for all my grass care, minus the rollers, because I'm still not sure if I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm also driving this over because I am curious. Like, I could sell it for $50,250 if I just sold it sitting at the farm. I'm curious here if I try to sell it here. Although maybe you can't, because there isn't a window. Because it's telling me, well, let's see, 55,561, so it might work. So I really want to sell it. Yeah, okay. So it was good to drive it over, because otherwise we basically lose some money to bring it over. So I don't want to stand here. So I'm going to go ahead now. And the first thing we're going to need is the mowers. So we're going to do that. And that's what I'm going to take off with first. So there's not really... What does the collector do? Interesting. Does the collector... I wonder if the collector does the same thing as you know, does it swath it for me? Because then this is like the best of both worlds. So then if I have grass, so I'm going to try that. I'm going to buy it that way. I am spending 15,000 on a whim. I could go test it, but why, right? So so we'll go ahead and do that. And then I need a tedder. And again, I'm going to use the largest things I can. So again, this just needs 100 horsepower, but it's going to be 17 meters of working with. Nothing to do. And then a windrower. And again, now in this case, I'm going to pick this one. And you can see it's 14.79 miles. Or 15 at 9 miles. So to pay that kind of a premium for that really doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We'll get that purchased. And then the last thing we need is a forage wagon. So this is the biggest one. 50,000. And again, I've got the horsepower, so we're going to go with this. I don't really need a cover. It's not going to do anything. So I have an option eventually to do what they're calling the silage additives tank, which then I think requires me to buy the silage additive. I don't know, I'd have to play with that and see if it's worth it, because the silage additive costs some things, and I think it increases by 5%, but with the fermenting silo and so forth, I think we're going to have plenty going on. So that should give us all of our wonderful grassland equipment. 416,000 on top of my Fendt. Now this thing looks funny with these wheels, but again, this is what's going to give me the ability to use the tractor as needed. So, trying to learn how to drive it. Obviously, I'm not doing too well, but that should be close enough, I think. Goodness gracious. So yeah, I have not been able to fix the... Alright. Do I not have the right hitch, or am I just in the wrong place? So this is a bit concerning. Because if that doesn't work, then I'm going to have a problem. Alrighty. Make sure it works with other things. But I may just... I'm hoping I just have to change the hitch in the back. I had not even thought that this could be some sort of a problem there. Alright, well, I can hook that up. Alright, so let me take this to the workshop. But yeah, if I don't have a PTO in the front or something... then I'm going to have a problem too, but because yeah, some of these large trailers can't do things, but because of what I saw on the front, I thought I'd be okay. But I'm frankly a little concerned now with what was just happening. And that will be a bit of cash that is not going to be fun if I've got to do something with that. So yeah, you just never think that things won't work. Alright. Thank goodness. So it looks like it connects up in there. Alright, well at least it's telling me I just need to unfold it. I was just hitting the B button to make sure it'll work, and not that it's telling me something about a PTO. I guess I'll have to maybe hold that on there. Now this will be the bigger thing. Alright, thank goodness. Alright. And then we get that. Let's just make sure there's nothing to do up here. Oh, no, there is a hose. Oh, and there is a PTO. So there's probably a PTO here too. Yep, okay. Alright. So now we're all set. So, nice contraption, huh? So we've got an hour and a half until the rain was supposed to arrive. So that should be fine. Yeah, but the nice thing is, you know, we've got a 400 horsepower trailer, and these things are speed demons. Compared to the other one that went 27, this goes 39. So, and all of these in the... So there we go. Select working with wide spreading. I am so excited because, so let's see, usually, no, I don't know how to do that then. So let's see. So let me go back here. So yeah, it's the back. Because it was Control Y on the other mower, like the dedicated mower. But this is exactly what it would say, is wide spreading or swath mode. So I may have to go look at some keybinds and figure out what's happening. But I'm thrilled, honestly, because what that does is the trade-off I was worried about with the mower, like, it's negated. And so this is exactly as if I had the mower, but I'm faster, because while I'm a little slower in miles per hour, my working with is bigger. But and then, you know, for grass, now again I have thin wheels, so it theoretically shouldn't matter. I just don't know with the little mower wheels in the back if that would be accurate or not. But what I think I'm going to do, I mean, I'm certainly going to mow I'm going to mow a piece, because that's right. I want to see, because if I'm getting... What, oh my goodness, that's not what I want. I do not want to be in the water. What is going on? Is the mower down somehow? I don't think it is. Oh, I'm not. Let's see. Oh, I guess it must have been. Oh, that could have been really bad. It's the last thing I need, is to fall in the water and destroy my equipment and then be resetting it, whatever. But wow. Okay, so let's see. Turn this all on. Alright. So we're going to give this a good old-fashioned college try here. So we need to unfold. And we need to do this for both. So there we go with that. Then we're going to need the lower. So that's that. That's that. And then we need to turn on, but before we turn on, I want to definitely figure out how I change the mode. Fold mower, turn on, toggle. So it is control. So maybe it was because it wasn't open. So swath dropping, left swath. So this does exactly the same thing. Now the only interesting part is, like, there was nothing I could do to modify this. So what I'm hoping is that basically what is happening is, because the mower in the center, like it's just going to swath in the middle. So the front mower is just going to mow, and then this is going to toss the swaths into the appropriate place. But anyway, what I need to do now is turn on the mower, and here we go. So let's see how this works. It's looking perfect. Not just passable, but I dare say perfect. So I am going to run a couple of passes here. Oh, you have no idea how excited I am. You can probably get an idea, but because I was thinking, oh, I've got a bit of a trade-off I'm worried about, and it would be wonderful if I'm just doing a lot of grass to just go out and swath. And then I was like, oh, I won't be able to, but for hay I've still got a windrow, so it'll work out. But this is better than I could have hoped for. So we're getting a beautiful swath here. All right. Now the trick will be, you know, I don't have to turn things around per se. Ooh, I can't turn very sharply. I've got to be careful here. Alright. Because I can't go into his feet. Oh boy, this is just not going to work. I wonder, wow, does this thing just not turn? That's just a disappointing result, I'll say that. Alright. Well, this is all figuring this out as we go, right? Wow. Alright, well, what I think we're going to do is, I need to run another swath here, though. So I'm going to kind of do this, get myself aligned here. Luckily this thing has enough horsepower that I can kind of manhandle it around. But what I don't know, because yeah, my wheels are turning. Is it because I have things on the ground? Oh, well, maybe that's what it is. Because now this seems to be turning well, I don't know that it really is. Anyway, let me see where this lines up here. Alright. So I want to lower this, turn it on, and then we're going to go. And so I don't think it's going to change, any of the swaths over there. So unlike a windrower that would, if it was cutting over like that, it would move things. This will not do that. But I'm going to do this row, and I'll probably have a little bit where I've moved over. So we'll have to see how everything lines up. But I think I'm just going to get a few rows done here. say another main row, and then I'm going to go get the forage wagon, and I'm going to see how much we got. Because what I'm trying to figure out is, if I'm not getting a lot of grass, for example, what I may do is just do hay right away. Well, but this has to, like, hay can be done just by tedding, so I probably want to pick up the grass and focus on silage first. But we'll see how this all goes. Alright. So again, we're going to do these things. Because otherwise we're also going to run the risk of kind of running off the beaten path here. Alright, so now we're going to start that up, and we're going to start that up, and we're going to get this part thrown in there, get a little tiny swath there. So literally I think all it's doing is the center. It's not even, the other mowers not doing anything. So there we go. Whoops, and then we'll turn that off, and then we'll come do the next row, and then we're going to go get the forage wagon, and we're going to see, maybe I already have 50,000 liters of grass. I think that would be insane, but who knows? I mean, these are big fields. So I know in other places where I've been doing grass work, it doesn't take a lot. So, but let's see. So here we go. And we'll get that moving. And I don't know that the edge of the field will regrow very well. I think it will, but you know, but the nice thing too is grass is ready in 2 months. So you know, and it might be actually 3 months, because it's probably, now that I'm cutting, it's probably in the first growth stage, and then it'll be in the second growth stage tomorrow, and then the next day it'll be ready to go and get harvested again. And so the only difference I'll have too, and I'll probably do that just to see how things really work, is what the output is, because my understanding is I'm going to basically stay 50% fertilized all the time if I do nothing with grass. Rolling or fertilizing obviously will get me back up to 100%, so in theory I should get double the yield. So I may, just because we're starting out and we don't want to be having just a little bit of material, I may go ahead. So let me fold this up. Let me fold this up. And then I'm going to get these packed away over here. Actually, let me go around the other way, because what I'll do then is I'll want to get these running, because now that I've done these swaths, I'm going to go north-south with the mower. I just don't want to, whoop, that's a tree. I just don't want to run the risk of going into his field in any way, because that would be bad. I would be a bad neighbor, and he'd be right in being upset with me for being a bad neighbor, because I should be able to control my mower. So let's see, we'll put this over here, and then that way it'll just be a reverse to come get it. So yeah, the turning radius on this, not as nice as the other tractor, that's for certain, so I will miss that. Oops, I need to detach. Oh, Well, I'm trying to detach it, but it won't let me. Is it because it's running? I don't understand. Because this would be disappointing if I suddenly can't get this thing off my tractor. Detach PTO. I'm trying to do that. Oops. That's not what I need to do. So like that does that. But then somehow this is not working. Oh boy. Is this a bug? I don't understand. So I'm gonna have to see what I'm gonna do here. So I had another FM come over. JP happens to be on. He actually has this tractor. I did not know that until we were just discussing some things. But he couldn't get it disconnected either. So it was a little bit of confusion, but I'll show you what I discovered when I get there, and maybe, I don't know, I mean, I guess it'll be what it'll be. It obviously let me use the mower, but I think what might have been happening, and so maybe I just have to do something really strange, but I'll worry about that when I try to mow again. But at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and start picking things up. So I'm going to lower this, and then I'm going to turn it on. And that should hopefully work. Yep, there we go. So we're getting some grass. Whoops. I'm not getting all the grass. I've got to position myself a little bit better here. But I'm liking the fact that we already have 415 liters and we haven't even gotten on the field yet. So, like I said, this is working out pretty nicely. So at about 3,000 liters, it looks like we then have enough that it stops flowing in the front. And I should be able to tow the full amount. I mean, we'll see if this thing gets too heavy and unmanageable. But there's the mower. So what I did was I reset the tractor to the shop. That was his idea. Now obviously I'd prefer not to do that every time I needed to detach the mower. But that's a potential workaround. But if you take a look, you can see the PTO shaft that when I was reset, it looks like it attached itself to my back PTO, which is really, really strange and not what one would expect. But I'm wondering if, because I guess what I didn't realize, I was kind of looking at it and was wondering when I would try to connect if it would say no, you can't. But he said, yes, this tractor doesn't have a front PTO, which obviously, it doesn't look like it did. But I thought, well, it connected, so I guess I'm okay. And, I needed something with thin wheels was the challenge. All right, so the nice thing is, once across the field is 30,000 liters about. So, yeah, nothing to complain about there. That is for certain. So, now again, the nice thing with grass is I can just kind of drive all over, because grass isn't going to get killed regardless of the wheels, because otherwise, yeah, the big wheels on that trailer, I think, would do some significant damage. But yeah, the one challenge is just the turning radius on this tractor. but I don't know on a large tractor if I'm going to have any alternative. So, but yeah, there's a possibility I may have to do something different here. So I'll have to take a look. Alright, so I think there we've got a little bit. Then it should pick up some more. Oh boy. Yeah, just trying to get this positioned is a challenge, that's for sure. But then we will have... Now this will be a lot less because this was kind of that partial row. So we're not going to suddenly end up with 60,000 liters by the other end. This will be a lot less. But, you know, it'll be a good amount, and we might still fill up. I mean, we'll see how this all plays out. But yeah, I'm beginning to think 300,000 was almost certain. I was like, yeah, that small fermenting silo probably not going to work very well. Alright, so now we are getting pretty much the full row because now it's much wider. So yeah, we might hit the 50,000 before we get to the end. So I would say that I would safely be able to do some grass and some hay off this field, which is what I was hoping. Alright, so there we go. We're at 50. Now, our first test of our new digs. And hopefully, everything works as expected. So, I need to pull up here by the blower. That's the intake. Now, probably with the turning radius, need to... Alright, so that is excellent. Alright, and here we have gas silage, or grass silage. So we're going to activate it. And there we go. So, our first portion has begun. We are making silage that's going to go in here for the feeder robot. Again, I'll just bring it over with this same forage wagon, I believe. But I'm not worried about that stuff yet. But yes, at this point, what I think I will do is I will mow up until the, let's see, I don't know if it, okay, so it did turn off the loading wagon. So I'm going to get this little piece done here. Again, this was that tiny bit that we just had in the center of the mower. So you can see how much grass is here, because this is literally just the 3-meter wide center mower. And we're going to have over 1,000 liters, I think, by the time we get this done. Yep. 1,100. Nice. I mean, turning width's not terrible, but what I may do is skip a... Whoops, let me do this. If I'm smart, I'll do this. And I'd like to think I'm smart, so... Alright, so there we go. See what we get by the end. Might get the 3,000, oh yeah. And then some. So there we go. And now we'll do a sharp turn. And then we'll see what we can do with the mower once I dump this into the silage silo. I was going to say the silage pit, because in essence it's doing the same thing, but and so the nice thing is the cycle on that is just incredibly fast, so you'll see where we're at when we go dump this next load. But no, what I'm thinking is I'll go about to where the island is, and I'll mow that, swath it up, and then collect it up and see where we're at. And then we'll switch to hay. But the problem is going to be, like, I think I'm going to have so much output here. But once again, I don't need to mow this. I mean, there's nothing that says I have to mow the whole field. I mean, obviously, what I don't mow won't be growing anymore. It'll just sit there. But what I may start to find is I just need to run a few rows, and which is nice because then I could fertilizer roll, and it could last the entire year by the time I use the whole field or something. But the good news is, you know, I was obviously a little concerned of, am I going to have enough output to get, you know, get the cattle where they need to be. Whoops, I think I've got a little bit there, so let me collect that up. Not that it would hurt anything laying there, but it's free grass. Why wouldn't I take it? Another 100 liters. Nothing to sneeze at. It's about $4 worth, because it's about $40 per 1,000 liters, I think, is what I was seeing. But yeah, there we go. So let me pick that up so I can go faster. And once again, my Speed Demon tractor, now, you know, there is 33,000 liters of grass back here, so it's heavy, but it's going to get there, I think. Yep. So, not bad. So the nice thing is, you know, this will be some quick movement. So, as long as I can figure out what's happening with the mower. So now my test is going to be, can I get the mower reconnected? Because it's possible with that thing sticking out the way it is, like that it's going to have to be reset to the shop too. And that isn't going to work very well. So then I think I'm going to have to make a tough choice, because I don't know what we do for fertilizing the other fields. Now, the thing is, and this is where now not having precision farming is going to get to be a real problem. And maybe I just deal with it in between. Because if I can't use a tractor with thin tires, I can't really fertilize without destroying crops. But if I have precision farming, I only fertilize one time when I plant. But we don't have precision farming right now, so we have a problem. Alright, so I'm going to take a look here. Oops. Didn't realize I had it still active. So this all disconnects as one would expect, because it's all connected in the back. So let's go see what we can do. But if we can connect to the mower, I really probably need to stop because of stuff going on in my real life world here. I should take a break for a bit, and if the rain stops later tonight, I could do this in the evening before midnight and kind of get what I want done. See, now the challenge is it going to tell me there's a PTO there, or and then not let me connect, or what? Interesting. See, so now it doesn't, it's like it doesn't think it's attached. Why won't it let me move? This is very weird. Alright, so unfortunately I'm going to have to find out a different tractor, because the front PTO is just going to continue being a problem, and I'm sure, yeah, we're going to have this issue. So now you can see more clearly here. I think I'm going to reset this back to the shop too, because my hope is then, let me get off of this. My hope is then it'll fix itself. So that's good, because then there's no PTO sticking out of it. So let me go figure out what my tractor options are. Unfortunately, I lost like $100,000, but it is what it is, I guess. Alright, so I'm pretty sure this has a PTO up front there. You know, very similar to what I'm seeing there, so I think we're good. It's a little slower. I can get a Fendt, but it would cost more, and I don't know that the speed is like, you know, I mean, again, once it's working, it's not like I can do much, but I can, you know, put this at 410 instead of 396 and get this at about the same price that I had the other one. So we're going to try this one. So I guess now we're a Claas instead of a Fendt. So hopefully we're not going to have any weird problem here. If I do, I don't know, because I'm going to eventually run out of money going through these experiments. So let me move over here where I can see. Yes, now that appears to like connect to a PTO in the front, as opposed to it just goes somewhere, which was what was happening with the other one. And obviously I'll be able to test immediately when I get to the field. So hopefully we've solved the issue, and I can then go forward with my plan. So I'll see you there. Once I connect up, we'll try to connect and disconnect all the PTOs if that works. Then I'll finish up the mowing and the picking up of the grass up to about the island point, and we'll see how things are going there. Hopefully, you know, maybe this one has a better turning radius. Again, it doesn't have thin wheels, so we'll have to figure out what that's going to mean for certain things. So, I mean, I know what it's going to mean. It's going to mean I can't fertilize my crops, so I need precision farming. Then the problem goes away. Or I may end up needing another tractor. Yeah, the other benefit I have here is at least, like, that modded tractor was not showing up on the mini-map. Right. Okay. So this appears good. Now the only test I need to do is... Okay. So... Alright. Alright. So... I was unable to disconnect once it worked, but alright, I'm gonna assume I'm okay, because at least things are working as they should. I shouldn't have to test everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and get myself going, and I'll get, you know, mow as I said, Well, and actually, let me look at the map here. Because what I'm going to do, like if I had done the island, that would be this. So I'm thinking if I go about halfway, because yeah, I'm not going to go sideways anymore because, well, you know what, let me see. You know what, this actually has a better turning radius. So let me go ahead and give it a shot. And I might be able to do this. So, because yeah, this actually works better than the other tractor. And then it's just easier to divide things up that way. But let me see if I lower. It's on swath dropping. So we'll get going there. And then we'll get these going. That is a weird sound, but okay. Alright. Alright, so I'm all set. So I'll see you once I'm done, and I'll update you on how much grass I've gotten into the silage, fermentation silage portion, and I'll see where we're at. Alright, so I was just kind of giving this a try, and it seems to kind of be a bit sloppy, as I figured it might be. So, but what I was trying to figure out is, like, would somehow it stay in the windrow, and it looks like maybe in certain cases. I'm trying to figure out if it's just like if I center the one spinner over the row, because see, like, no, it's still kind of going out quite a bit. But yeah, like right there, now it seems to be staying in line, but as soon as I barely move over, it doesn't. So what I was trying to figure out is, when I'm doing hay, do I want to just not worry about windrowing it? But yeah, no, I'm gonna have to windrow it, which is kind of what I figured. But so this is an interesting tedder. I mean, again, it's wide, quite wide. I mean, it's the widest one available. And yes, I do not want to grab 2 rows because I want mainly grass right now, at least over there. But at this point, I'm going to run up and get the windrower so that I have what I need, and I'll run this row with the windrower once I'm done here with the tedder. And then I'll be able to, you know, pick up the hay, pick up the grass, and then kind of make a determination at that point. So I just need to be careful. Shoot, yeah, I ended up hitting the field a bit, but I think I got it all as hay. It doesn't look like there's any like dark green or anything there, but yeah, I got a lot closer than I wanted to. So I guess I'll go put this over here. Now, for some reason, as I was hauling this, it was like bouncing, because you can see it looks like it's attached quite low on this tractor. So this is a bit large for it, that's for sure. So you can see how much it pops up. So what I don't know is if I can do anything to change the, just seeing if I can move that at all. It doesn't look like it. I just didn't know if maybe I could change the height of that hitch, because normally you can do something, but I'm trying all the obvious things. I don't see anything moving. The controls, so I don't think I can do anything. But I don't know for certain. I don't know for 100%. But it got there, and, you know, once it was running okay, so. Because at this point, I've left the mower on the other tractor. If I can do that, that will make things a little easier. You can see it's over there by the river. At least, hopefully, you can see. I mean, we'll be going pretty close to it, but I kind of tucked it out of the way. And I'll do the same thing I did, but you can see kind of what these rows look like, and that hay's definitely spread out more. But the nice thing is, again, we can just grab that hay and immediately throw it into the robot feeder location to begin with. And then if I had extra, which I really don't need, because the only way I'd really be putting hay into the fermenting silo is if I overestimated and just got too much. But once again, because in FS22 it doesn't deteriorate, it doesn't do other things, you know, I'll certainly make sure I pick things up, because if I do the roller, one of the things I did read about that was you can't roll with any cut grass on the field, or it basically like then takes 2 cycles for it to grow back. Because in theory what it's trying to mimic is that you're basically kind of shoving the grass back down on itself, and somehow that creates more yield. I'm not a grass expert, I don't understand, you know, but the grass rollers are different in how they function. And grass rollers are, again, a new thing in, I think, FS22, if I recall. So that wasn't something that was present. I did get out, because I wasn't sure what was growing here for rented, but it's soybeans that he's growing in that field again. But they're only stage 2 of 6, so they're early. But yes, what I'm basically going to try to do is kind of the experimentation, so that I just know everything is good. Although I am going to run out of, well, I don't know that I'll run out of time to mow, because it's not as if it goes into tomorrow, it's going to be different. The goal of trying to get it done today is anything I cut, I want to obviously start growing, so if I need it, I want it to immediately grow back. But, you know, I have to keep in mind, I can only put 120,000 liters of silage into that robot feeder, and then the challenge will be, once again, like, how long does that last? If it lasts kind of like the pigs, 5 or 6 months, you know, the difference I'm going to have here is, unlike the crops and the other things I needed, like that's constantly feeding, so all I have to do is dump another trailer load of, you know, 40,000, 50,000 liters in there, and, you know, do that for three things, and it'll all be great. Alright, so, oh, there is a PTO. I was gonna say, there's no PTO that I can see, but there is, so, and I meant to hit the W to walk, but I was hitting the Q. So this is longer, as you can see, so again, this is the Windrower, and this one is wider, I believe, than the Tedder. I think it's 19 meters. But either way, I'm gonna stay far over, so that I just hit that one row, and we'll get it tidied up, and then we'll collect it at some point. But the other piece I want to try is making sure that I can get mineral feed over, that I can buy the pallets, I can load them into a trailer, and put that over there. So I'm just going to get a single pallet to start, because once again I can't do much until I have straw, so there's not an extreme rush for that. And again, that's not growing, that's just buying it. And the max for that robot feeder is 100,000 liters of that, and so I can, that would cost me 100,000 because it's basically 1,000, or it might be 1,050 for 1,000 liters of mineral feed. But the key point is if I can, buy however many pallets I want to buy of it, and then be able to dump it in there. I don't know that there's any reason I shouldn't be able to. It's just, obviously it's not a silo, but when I would put the pallet there, it would just start consuming it internally. So I'm hoping when I pull up with a trailer with it, I'm just going to get an interaction point with the I key to unload, and everything will be good, that the trigger will hit, and that is the hope. But basically, once I do this, I know the hay will go where the hay needs to go. So this is more quantity testing, but I'm pretty sure the hay, because I've kind of looked at this in other things, like you get the same amount of hay as grass. Like, it's not like it suddenly turns into more or less. So this just still is very, very tight here. I don't know. I'm just a nervous wreck every time I go down this road. I'm glad it's here. That's really what I wanted to do. Again, I would probably have cut a little straighter across to the bridge, but, I understand. They made the decision they made, but I also get kind of why they made it. The thing is, this one doesn't appear to be, this one doesn't hang as low as that tedder, which is interesting. So, anyway, we'll get ourselves lined up over here. Whoops, actually I've got to get down here. I forgot I have some down in this space, so not sure I'm gonna get exactly where I want here, but we'll try. Well, we cleared the boat, so. But yeah, if I put this down, oh, it just took a while. I'm like, I don't understand. And there we go. And then that should line things up. But this should be pretty good. So we'll just get this windrowed and get a beautiful row there. So as I said, I think this is a little bit wider. I don't know that it entirely matters, but let's see. So if I do this and then, well, actually it's smaller, it looks like. Interesting. I would not have thought that. But the speed's exactly the same as we talked about. And so, yeah, one pass of this before was about 30,000 liters, so I'm imagining that's the amount of hay I'll get. But that's the thing, if that's really what I get, I only need about 100,000 liters max, so really 3 rows of hay is more than enough. And then I could just do the rest in grass and put that all in the silo. And obviously if I somehow get it, I think 925 or 975,000 was the max for that. Obviously then I would stop mowing, but we'll see how it all goes. So I'll probably do that first, because again, that'll get all the harvesting done and so forth. Right, so I think we'll do that, and then there we go. Get that all folded up. I guess well, I'll move him completely out of the way, because if this all works, I will then just hop back in the mower and figure out what I'm doing. But I don't really need the 100,000 in hay now. I forgot, the forage wagon gets towed by not the truck. So I think there are some that can. Or maybe not, because I think you need a PTO. So I need a tractor again. Silly me. Again, I'm sure in a cycle or two this will all become old hat. But right now, it's a bit new for me, so just trying to get things normalized here. So what I will do, because I did not talk about that at any point, the pigs are topped off. They were getting pretty close to empty this afternoon. I think late this afternoon, probably like 8 hours ago. So I'm not going to give them any more food. So the pigs will be sold before that, because obviously I also don't want them to drop down and lose value. That would kind of defeat the purpose here. But at this point, yeah, I'm just gonna start with the grass. There's no reason to really go in any different sequence. Let's take a quick look at the silo and how it's doing. So there you go, we got 47,000 liters of silage already. So I think this means it'll do 231,000 in a 24-hour period, so we can basically assume it's going to do about 10,000 liters an hour. Which I think is accurate. And then you know, but we're gonna have way more than we need, I think. So you can see that auger that was turning in there for a second, but then it just became a waterfall of green as the grass got scooped up. And so now it's just driving back and forth, and again I think it's a couple rows and we'll be full. So that will help me figure out really what the yield on this field is, and I may determine I don't even need to worry about rolling it. I could just leave it at the 50%, so that, you know, that's the other piece and why I didn't buy the roller, is it's just, you know, I've got 54 acres of grass here. I mean, this is a lot of grass, and unless the cows start consuming more than I think, given that every 2 days we're going to have a fresh field that we could dig into, I'm just not sure how important it is to have a full yield. So, but obviously we're gonna do what we can here. But yeah, it's not even 2 rows, because as you can see we're already at 25,000 and this maxes out at 50, so we're going to hit that before we're done. Now again, I'm trying to be extra careful here, because I could always just go up and down if I had to. Now, you know, the nice thing with this is obviously I've got a really sharp turning radius with the quadra-track, so I just don't know that I'm going to be able to line this up quite right. I'm probably going to have to back up a bit, but that's alright. Just want to make sure I don't back into his field doing that. Again, I can stick over the field I don't know, maybe I got it all. Doesn't actually look like there's anything down there, so might actually be okay. I guess we'll take a peek as we clear this. Yeah, I think I actually got it all. Cool. Alright. So we'll get this going, but even though this looks thinner, you know, I know these were all full swaths, and I think the yield would be kind of consistent across the field since we don't have precision farming and any kind of soil map and different issues there. So therefore, I'm guessing we're going to get, you know, that 28,000 or whatever. And so, yeah, 3 rows of hay will be enough, assuming that will be the same. But right now, we'll worry about these couple passes of grass, and I'm thinking we're going to have at least 150,000 more liters of grass that I've already got laying here in these windrows. So, definitely a different focus on the farm for what we're doing here. It's just nice because we won't have to worry about too much here, especially if we determine we're not going to worry about rolling or fertilizing. Now, pulling this in with this, I should be able to go around because, again, the quad track, way better turning radius. And so I'll use that other one for mowing because I need the front PTO, and this will become my workhorse assistant for this. So at this point, yeah, 48,000 already. But I don't even know off this field if we're going to get enough right now to even get out of the red. It just got such a high quantity. As you can see, I mean, we've got 60,000 and, you know, we're not even past the word grass yet. You know, we'll probably get past it with the next load, but so we're at, what, 84,000. So right now, if I did nothing else, that would work. Now the question is, okay, we dropped down a bit. I'm like, this does not look like it's gonna fit, but it will. Alright. So that's good. I was worried, but it's because of we were higher up, so when we go down to the pad, we can get where we need to. So that is excellent. But yeah, we've really got an hour, so what I'm thinking I need to do, now that I know how this goes, is I'm going to leave this and I'm going to now hop into my mower. Because again, otherwise my grass will not start growing. So let me get this cleaned up here. Get our GPS set, because we've been out of the server. So there we go. That should get us what we need. Oh, we have got an FM joining us. So I have had everybody. I mean, obviously this is all new, not something I've been doing on the farm, so I've definitely had a lot of interest from folks about, are you doing cows? What are you doing? So Nick has not been on, I think, yet and seen what I've been doing, so we may get some there, we may not. I'm gonna actually circle around further out here because I'm trying to keep these rows as straight as possible, but I also don't want to lose tons and tons of time. I think I swung too far again, but this might work out. There we go. Alright. So why is it? Oh, because it's, I think it needs the PTO, and I'm wondering if this one clearly is... Yeah, okay, he's okay for some reason, but... Alright. So, swath dropping is set. So what I'll probably do is I will do these 2 rows. We'll turn these into hay. So I will skip these for collection. But no, my goal is to just get this all mowed. And, you know, kind of see what things look at. Because I know I'm going to have enough space for the grass. Well, I should take that back. So I've got 100,000 there, so it's 180. So basically if I've got, say, every 2 is 50,000, so every 20 would be 500,000, right? Yeah. So I can go nearly 40 rows, but I don't know that, again, I'm not going to be going this way the whole time. But I can't imagine. I mean, I'm at -2 here. We'll just kind of let it count until I get to the top of the field, and we'll see where it's at. So I'm going to keep doing this. And probably if somehow, if somehow I don't finish by midnight, I will stop, because that will be enough anyway. I mean, I'll have a ton. So I'll see you in a bit. Just turned to midnight, just finished. Obviously the grass is starting to grow again, as you can see. So go ahead and put this here for now. Although, yeah, I'm gonna disconnect these and drop all these things. So, yeah, we'll do that. We'll move this forward a bit. And then we'll pull in there. But yeah, I'm going to need this tomorrow, I believe, for the fertilizer at some point. Alright, so I'm going to pick up the grass and get the hay up just to make that progress. And then that will be it for today. I'll pick up the rest tomorrow, but you know, at this point the big thing was getting things cut. So I had it probably 2 more passes left at the top of the field, and I've gone up and down, so there's very little that I didn't get to. If we look at the fertilizer map, basically that part that is dark is what's left. So I'd say overall that's pretty good. And then we'll likely see where we're at with the growing next time, because like I said, at this point I think we've got plenty to get going, and we'll have more grass grown, and then we'll basically see, because we know we got over 25,000 in the first row, and my guess is we're going to get half that. We're going to get about 12,500, so probably really closer to 14,000, because I think we were at 28,000 across. But so we'll see, because this, for example, should be really, really close to being full by the time we get there, because we had 10,000. Well, actually, no, we'll only have about 38,000 because we're going to get maybe 28,000 here again, so never mind. And then we'll have 12,000 more to go. As you can see, we're at 59,000 in silage, so we've got nearly half of what we need to completely fill the robotic feeder. So I think pretty good. I'll just have to be careful here. Again, we're running close. And since this isn't sticking out that far, I think this will work. No. In this case, see, I think we had a situation that didn't quite work out the way we would have preferred. Alright. I think I lowered the pickup, but then turned it off for a second, so there we go. We're all good. Running a little bit off the path, so hopefully didn't miss any. But basically, yeah, this is now, as I thought, 2 of 3 on the growth, so that means tomorrow already. You know, and again, that's July, so that next day we'd be able to immediately harvest again if we need to. So that's where it becomes, as I said, a bit questionable on how valuable it will be to fertilize or roll regularly. And yeah, because if it only takes 8,000 to fertilize, it may just be easier to do that than rolling, but I'll have to take a look, because it just might still be worth the investment. I mean, it's going to cost me 140,000, but if it ends up being about the same, although I'm not sure that it would be, so because in reality, I think, I mean, it's a bigger working with, but I think it's really close. Alright, well, this will get us over 100,000 for sure. So there we go, 105. We're about past the word now. So there we go, 124. And I'm guessing we have at least another 50,000. What I'll probably do is go past, if I need to, around the hay rows. So there's basically 2 grass rows that I'm going to have to ted and windrow and then pick up. So I'm going to basically have to skip 2 grass rows next to the hay row and go from there. So, but at this point it looks like, yeah, we've got 3. So this will definitely fill up one more time, and then we'll have another batch. Perhaps. I mean, it's possible this is going to get, because if it gets really, really close, I'm not going to worry. You know, if I'm at 40,000 or 45,000, I don't know that it's going to make a lot of sense to worry about that extra 10,000. So I may just choose to leave it alone, but if I'm kind of just starting and I only have 5 or 10,000, I'll cycle around and grab some more grass, because I know I have space for it. Because the other thing that's going to start happening with a couple of these rows is we go a little further, and so we're going to add a few thousand probably with that little push out by the river as well in a given row. So we're going to probably easily cross 30,000 in a row then, which means we're not going to even get 2 rows. I mean, we don't get 2 rows now, but it'll be even less than that. How about that? Because, yeah, this was 12,000 or so that we had to get, and so in theory, this should have been about it, but you can see we're a little further. But we might hit 20. No, not quite. No, we did. Wow. So we'll see, because if I get a full 30 here, which there's a real possibility that could happen, this will fill it up, and then, yeah, I'll have the one row, and at that point, yes, I'll go grab a little bit of another to fill things up. But it's pretty nice here that everything's working the way it is. Definitely not super stressful work. You know, the fact that I'm not sitting there worrying about weeds and grass and all those other things, and that for the most part, if I like, I can just let it grow, and I can just let it sit. It won't, I know, I'm pretty sure it won't die over the winter. I just can't harvest year round. There's a couple months in the winter that you can't do anything with it, so, but that may be the planting cycle too. I don't remember. So maybe you can harvest it year round. I just remember one of the bars is longer. We'll take a look once I'm back here, because at this point I'm getting close to the edge. I obviously don't want to run into their field, risk damaging their crops, because I think some of the things are on the second stage. But yeah, this looks like we are going to hit this. We are, and we'll even have some left. Probably not much, but you know, some. So we do have to go all the way here. So yeah, I don't know that it's quite worth it, because again, the Claas is 31 versus 24 is the top speed. So I could go about 33% faster, but right now it's not necessarily something I'm worried about. But you know, once I've mowed, it's easier. What I didn't want to be doing was disconnecting the mower to then go get, you know, the tedder and the windrower and all that. It was just easier to do that with this. Alrighty. So, like I said, we'll take a look at the end of the next one and see if we've hit yellow, but I'm not even sure we're going to do that. Pretty soon. You know, now we're 1 month closer to having probably Holsteins just running around there, because I'm not doing anything substantially different or pulling them out. I may just go with one type and not mix things up. I'll see. Excuse me. I'll see what the description is. Yeah, I'll go down where I was, because I was debating starting at the row up here, but I'm like, I gotta come back, and then I'm gonna have a fraction of another, and I'd rather have the fraction on this end, versus if I started there, I'd be doing it from the other end. So I think that'll work better. So I'm thinking we're gonna be at like 35 at least before we're done. I might be very, very wrong, but I'm going to be optimistic. But yeah, I don't think we're going to get 5,000 off this row, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. Yeah, no way. But I will say, I think I got more than I expected. You know, hitting 2,000. That's pretty crazy. Alright, so again, just kind of learning the process, and eventually I think I'll certainly get better at it. So I think we're good. I don't see anything missed. Again, if I do, I can always pick it up a different time. It's not like I have to do it now, but I'm just trying to be thorough. And once again, if we miss some, it's just grass, so it'll just blend in, and it'll probably honestly be there for next time. So, alright, so that next row is hay, and then 2 rows over, we're going to turn that into hay as well. And what I'll probably do is then pick up one set, just one truck of hay, and say we're done for today, and then I'll do the other one tomorrow and just continue. But it's late, and I'll be up early, as I usually am, so it's not as if I won't be right back here. But at this point, now that we've crossed the midnight threshold, there's not really a reason to press on. There's nothing that we're running against weather with. I haven't looked, you know, it might be raining in 6 hours or whatever, but I'm not really concerned about that, so. Alright, so not quite 35, but alright, so I want to go far enough that I don't contaminate it with hay. And again, it's 1 and 2. And so this row here is where I am going to pick it up and get myself 50,000. So I doubt we'll even get to the middle of the field, but I might go further than I think, because we are only at 36, so. But I am certain I won't go to the end of the row. But yeah, at this point, we're going to be approaching 200,000, so probably 250,000 between what's already converted. But I'm saying we're going to hit like 200,000 in what we've got, the grass we've delivered, that's going to be sitting there right now. So, yeah, maybe right about the midpoint. So there we go. But yeah, especially with this tractor, like obviously this has no difficulty pulling this along at all. So I will have to get this new equipment into my inventory on the FSN website, so that is something else that we need to do, so that they know how much equipment we have, what's officially ours, and so forth. But, you know, this has been a $2 million endeavor so far, which is kind of what I knew would happen. I think the thing that pushed it a little further was the need for the tractor that I wasn't anticipating. But, well, I was, but obviously I also wasn't expecting the problem I had with it. Alright. Nope, so, oh, we're green, that's interesting. So it didn't go to, yeah, I guess we're not feeding anybody, but I guess it's just, you know, we're not low. So yeah, we're going to have over 250, so we have like two full things of silage, like entirely full if I was emptying it, but like once we go, I'm not going to fill or let it run empty. I mean, certainly that's not going to be the goal. And the big question is going to be, how many cows am I going to pick up when it's time? Because because again, I can only get 12 per in that trailer, so. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and leave this here. And I'm going to go get the tedder, and then I'm going to get the windrower. And again, then we'll collect 50,000 liters of hay, and we'll drop it in our robotic feeder location, and that'll be another milestone passed. That'll be exciting. Alright, so I believe this... no, that's the mower. So the tedder's kind of the little thing. The windrower's the big thing. And, you know, the thing is, with grass, like, you can't really ruin it. So I could just kind of leave this equipment around on the field and it would be okay. But not sure I'm going to do that, but we'll see. Alright, so I can start here just as easily as I can anywhere else. So I'll probably do that, because then I'm kind of lining up the tedder, because I'm thinking I should be able to get both rows together. That might be wishful thinking, but I think I can do it. So we'll see. So I'm going to lower this down, and we're going to turn it on. And we're going to do our thing. Now, I might not be able to windrow them together, but there we go. I can TED 2 rows at a time. And I don't know that the windrower's that much smaller, so it might work. That would be excellent if I could do that. Because basically we're... whatever the width, you know, the 12 meters, 12.3 meters, I think. And I think we're at least 14 meters on the windrower, so I think the problem's going to be the windrower's going to be very close. I don't know. I'll worry about it when I'm there. I'll just take the win now that I have one pass with the tedder, and I don't have to do anything else. I'll drag the tedder back over, however, to where it was, because I've got to go get the windrower anyway, and it doesn't really hurt if I'm pulling anything with me. But you can see for certain we are spreading things pretty widely. I'll probably double check my equipment inventory just so I know, because if it's, say, 3 meters, because I'm pretty much at the far end here, so I think it's a pipe dream to think I can do both rows together with the windrower as well. Because as we talked about, we knew that it was, the working width got smaller. We saw that on our lines that we have projected ahead of us when I grab the windrower and then reset my width. Alright, so we are all set. So that should honestly be plenty of hay. It may be more hay than I can actually utilize. Because as we saw, we were, I think, exceeding 30,000 in those longer rows now. But my hope is we're not exceeding, say, 33,000. Because then I probably can get nearly 100,000. But I'm still being like automatically neat and tidy, like I'm keeping it off the field, because it's just the habit I have of, you know, once crops appear, that's a bad thing. But alright, that should be good. And again, we can go line up here, but let me go take a quick look at my garage. So the tedder is 17. The Windrower is 14.7, so it's 2.3 meters smaller. But I think that's enough that it just isn't going to go. So I can try, but I think at best I'm going to catch pieces of it. So let me just take a peek and then I'll realign again. Yep, I can tell right now it's too wide. So we'll just do a couple passes because that's what's going to be necessary. And we'll go from there. So I'll start lowering these down. And I'm basically going to do these in the center. And we'll be all set. So, yeah, looks like Nick joined, was on for about an hour and a half here. So you can see how long I've been on. It's been longer than that, so it's been a long day today. But we had a lot to do. I mean, we're setting up we're changing the entire direction of our farm. So, I think it's a big deal. So I'll probably say it multiple times. I'm excited. Hopefully you're excited too. And but this'll be interesting. So yeah, the biggest problem I'll have is if suddenly 240 cattle are just consuming everything in a couple days. But with the volume that we're talking, I mean, if I was to max everything out, and again, the biggest challenge, honestly, I think would be the mineral feed, because if I'm buying it at 1,000 a time, just the time it would take to load those pallets into a truck, assuming that once again I can load them in from the store, from the pallet into the truck, and then take them appropriately and dump them right there. Just even, loading 50 pallets, which is what would fill up the truck. Or actually, I can't put it in the forage wagon now that I'm thinking about it. But, alright, let me pick these up. And we'll turn around. I just want to make sure I'm positioned appropriately to do the right thing here. So I think the backs drop a little later, so I don't want to go too fast. There we go. But yeah, the biggest challenge will be figuring out, how to get there. But, if I have that, I in essence have over 400,000 liters of material in that robotic feeder if it's maxed out. So 100,000 each of hay and straw, 100,000 of mineral feed, and 120,000 of silage. So, as I've shared, there's nothing, the robotic feeder doesn't show up as a production. So I don't know what the ratio is. I don't know how it consumes things. If it's just going to be, 1 liter of each turns into 4 liters of TMR, or how that's really going to work. So that will be part of what I think I'm trying to determine. Once it starts operating, I'll just have to take some measurements and see what happens. But the robotic feeder's kind of cool, because it's like once it fills up, this little thing drives in and puts the TMR into the cow barn. Alright, so now I don't think I'm going to be able to go the whole way. I'm not. So I'm going to have to clean that up by basically coming in from the other side and trying to realign and getting that little bit at the end. So I'm not quite sure how these all lined up that way, but yeah, this should. And the nice thing with the with this is that I can kind of manipulate it a little bit more than I would other ways. No, I think I'm just moving it over because I've just got spinning wheels. I don't think they're gonna do anything. I mean, in theory, I guess they could rip things out of the ground, which would kind of suck, but should be okay. Alright. So that gets us windrowed so that we can pick things up. We're not going to pick all of this up today, but we'll go get this down here somewhere. And yeah, I may just store these things here because obviously all the grass just gets worked. It was funny, I don't know. You know, Rented was kind of asking me if I'm gonna be messy because he said there was another FM, I assume, that's doing cows, who I guess he feels are messy. So I don't know that I knew there were cows on the map anywhere else. So I'll probably take a look at that at some point, but just out of curiosity at this point. So I have had people asking me further about fire, because part of the issue is with the server slowdown we had. We started talking about things like, hey, if you've got bales, if you've got pallets, and if you recall, a firefighter had a grain mill, so he's turning his grain into flour, but those productions put out like 6 pallets, and so it is filled up on the ground, which obviously exceeds the 2 pallets per that we would normally have. Alright, so here comes hay. There we go. Hey, hey. Alright. So again, I'm just gonna get 50,000 of hay. And that will be it. Whoops. Drifted off a bit. Bad, bad, bad. I'm getting tired, that's for sure, so that's probably contributing a little bit to the sloppiness. So just another reason to verify that I just need to call it a night and get a little bit of rest and hit it hard tomorrow again. So I know we're gonna these are all gonna be some pretty long episodes because I'm kind of taking you along. I'm doing a lot of chatting, so we're kind of back to when things started a bit, where they're not short, compact, cutting episodes, but I'm sure I'll be returning to that in due time. But the benefit anybody has, as I've talked about, is I try to put some chapter headings in at least. So at a minimum, I'm sure I'll say, hey, I'm picking up hay, I'm picking up grass. So if people want to see a little bit of each thing, they can hop around and not necessarily have to listen to all my explanation. Although obviously my explanation helps you understand why I'm doing what I'm doing and what I'm thinking. So, alright, so this is about what I figured. I'm going to end up with well over 30, well, not well over, but I'm going to blow past 30,000 is kind of what I really mean. So, what did we end up with? 32.5 to round it and be nice. And then, again, should get most of this, so straighten this out. This is a bit of a crooked run here, so I'll have to drive it around. And I guess we'll worry about if we didn't get it the other time. So the pieces here, again, if I don't have to get to the center, you know, I might have the near 100,000 here right away. And so the thing is, obviously this stuff won't be getting consumed. It's just going to be laying there on the floor because the robotic feeder needs all 4 components to function. But we'll take a look at that when I get over there, in case you're wondering, curious, unfamiliar, whatever we want to call it. So I think we're going to be slightly lower. I think we're past halfway at this point. Not by much, though. I mean, we may be at 95, 96,000 liters, so that's good. But I do like the fact that the field is large enough that I'm getting 30,000 liters plus literally in one pass. It just bodes really, really well for being able to make this effective. And this just works. I think this is going to work so much better than what I've had going on with the pigs, where I think I'm going to be able to keep things operating and running. And yes, I am coming in this way on purpose because I think crawling out over this huge bump would be bad. So this is silage. Hay is in the middle, or no, that's straw, so hay's at the end. So hopefully we'll get a trigger here. There we go. So we'll dump that in. We'll start seeing that fill up. You can see that pile getting bigger and bigger. And so we are literally going to be halfway when this is done. So obviously we'll see what that looks like in the future. Not too far in the future. It'll be tomorrow morning. But there you go. Got a little bit of the red lights in there. So let me take a quick look at something. So I did want to see. Alright, so my property maintenance actually is not too bad. The water is the water, I think, until I get cows, because that's for the pigs. Now what I was looking to see, oh no, there it is, property maintenance. I don't know where I was thinking it was the same. But yeah, so you can see it's 600 more than it was. But once again, once I drop the pigsty off, I don't think we're going to get all of that back. I'm guessing these production costs have to do with the fermenting silo. But if it's costing me $60 to get 64,000, that's okay. I think that'll work. Just not having the headache. But yes, at this point, I would say, like in 24 hours, if I don't put any more grass in, which obviously I will, all of that will be processed. But that's it for now. Again, I'm going to head off to bed. I've got to get the oats fertilized tomorrow. That's a certainty. So what I'm banking on, because I know I said I was really, really worried, like, oh, with precision farming, I might just have to go without fertilizing. But the first growth stage, usually, where you can see it, so it's really the second growth stage, because if we go out into the oats, you're going to see this as 2 of 4. But at this stage, I think I can run over it with anything. Obviously, we'll test that. So I'll just have to then focus on just making sure that I always can fertilize until precision farming gets in that first stage. So I'm going to have to work that into calculations about planting, because I'm going to have to clearly be able to get on for 2 days in a row. And then, it'll be working the grass up on the north end. So that's what's on the agenda for next time. So I'll see you then.